Hello, folks. How are you? Something a little new here for you on our EKN YouTube channel. My name is Rob Howden. Of course, that's David Cole over there. This is This Week in Karting, the show that we normally have on the EKN radio network. Of course, it's a podcast. We're starting to move more stuff over here to YouTube for those of you who really like to watch a lot of content on YouTube. Those of you who love listening to our podcast, don't worry. It's not going anywhere. We'll take the audio here, turn it into a podcast. But David Cole, something a little different. This Week in Karting, live on YouTube.
You know, I think we're the opposites because I have a face for TV, but I don't have the audio chops.
Wow.
You have the audio chops, but not the face for video. So it's kind of that mix.
I like it. Starting off with a big shot across the bow. As folks, you'll see up there today, presenting sponsor of this first edition of This Week in Karting is Leading Edge Motorsports. So Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer, folks, to winning in karting. At the helm is industry veteran Greg Bell, who orchestrated the success of countless drivers dating back to the mid-1990s. David, you want to put the page up? Sitting there waiting for you.
Oh, you have one?
Yeah.
No, there isn't one.
Oh, I thought I loaded it up. I'm sure I did.
You didn't.
Oh, way to go, Rob. I'll keep going.
Yeah, keep going because it's
Leading Edge
there.
Motorsports is the West Coast importer and factory team for IP Karting, which manufactures the ultra-competitive Praga and Formula K chassis brands. Leading Edge has partnered with ANSA Motorsports to support drivers on the 2021 Florida Winter Tour and SCUSA Winter Series, and they will be trackside at the Challenge of the Americas on the West Coast. Contact them today to book your spot under the tent. Visit leadingedgemotorsports.com for more info or find them on Facebook and Instagram. Spent the morning putting that together.
I looked. It's not there. I see the 3 commercial slides, and that's not there, Rob.
You know what? I'm literally going to load it up while we're talking right now.
Perfect.
Just
so that's a great thing. See, we can discuss things while we're both trying to produce this at the same time. And
yeah, I hear you. Hold on.
So I'm still kind of waiting for the slide. Oh, there! I see the slide there. There it is.
Leading Edge Motorsports, presenting sponsor. Oh, man. I'm telling you. Well, you know what? This was an idea we came up with yesterday, I think, and it's rolling, which is good.
This is what happened. Yeah, this is what happens when you decide to do something 24 hours ago.
That's how we do this. The interesting thing is our last show was only 10 days ago. Normally, it's once a month.
It was, yeah. You wanted to push this, the getting closer, the gap, closing the gap on these episodes a lot closer. So, it wasn't very long ago that we did record our podcast show, but we're able to. There's a lot of news that came about over the last basically 10 days, so we're able to do another episode.
I'm going to fire a quick note here on the comments. If anybody doesn't want to comment or throw a question up for us, this is obviously us more talking about what's come on the homepage of eKarting News. And that's what this Week in Karting podcast is about. Really, all the stuff that David posts throughout the weeks onto the homepage. We take this, put it in a podcast form, and now, of course, in a YouTube form as well. I'll post a little thing up here so people can make some comments or ask some questions if possible. David, let's get talking about a couple things that obviously were on the homepage. The 2 primary. We're talking Rock Cup, Florida Winter Tour, and we're talking something with Superkarts USA. First and foremost, the second round of the Rock Cup Florida Winter Tour location getting moved, actually.
Yeah, location's getting moved to Ocala Grand Prix. Originally, the event was scheduled for the Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, which will be I believe it was in 2 weeks, correct? If I'm correct in that. Yeah, it was in.
But it is, not this weekend.
Not this weekend, but next weekend.
Weekend after, yeah.
International travel restrictions, I'm sure you're well aware of that one, is part of the reasons for moving. They're going to have less international drivers actually showing up to the event. That equates to less entries, and with the extra cost of having the temporary event going on with at the Tropicana Field, they felt it was wise to move the event to Ocala Grand Prix, kind of help save costs a little bit with in terms of logistics and all the other amenities that come with having a temporary circuit. So going to Ocala Grand Prix now for round 2 of the Florida Winter Tour. Round 2 will be in the clockwise direction, and then they'll follow it up next month in March with the counterclockwise direction to close out the Florida Winter Tour.
I think it's a good call. You know what I mean? The bottom line is that you got to do the things that's right for the company, that's right for the organization. And, great racetrack as well. So so many races have been there. I've had a chance to race there back in the day. It was a Florida Winter Tour race back in like 2002. So again, one of the cornerstone facilities and stuff in Florida.
Just kind of go over a little bit of some of the travel restrictions because it involves Canadian drivers for the most part. What they're kind of looking at.
So where we are right now in Canada, if you do want to travel to the U.S., I think most people know this, you have to have a negative COVID test within 72 hours before you can travel internationally, Canada, of course, included, to fly into the U.S. You have to have that before you get on the plane coming south. But for Canadians coming back now, and I'll say this right now, it's awesome. Our numbers have been going down. Active cases, at least in Ontario, where I follow very closely, my home province, they've been going down every day. Essentially, the last 3 weeks, we've cut them in half to less than 15,000 active cases. I think less than 14,000, actually, I think, here in Ontario. But if you do fly back home into Canada, you have to get a COVID test at the airport. Then they're putting you in an airport hotel, somewhere close to the airport, and you have to wait there until you get a negative result from your test. They're saying they're approximating it's going to cost $2,000 for the stay. So that's obviously holding people back. Even if you get the negative test at the airport, when you get home, you still have to quarantine for a full 2 weeks, including those days you stayed at the hotel. So they're not making it easy, nor they're making it attractive for anybody to go south. Personally, I think they just don't want anybody traveling for spring break from Canada, but that's really what's happening. So you're right, David. It's going to stop a lot of Canadians from heading south.
Well, and that's what's so weird about the United States, because we have our cold areas, we have our warm areas, where Canada is all cold. So the only way for people in Canada to escape is to come to the United States or other countries, and even international travel to other countries is being banned for Canada. So that's I understand the kind of logic behind everything, but it makes it a lot harder for people who do want to travel, who are taking care of things responsibly.
Yeah, it's again, I think really this is pushing more on people that they're worried about traveling to Mexico or the islands, whatever it may be, on spring break. A lot of people are traveling either for sport, for amateur sports, professional sports, or for business. It's tough, man, because if they're coming back, then they're going to get hit with this hotel stay or whatever it may be. We'll see. Hopefully things will calm down over the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks, month. If the trend continues here, at least in Ontario, I haven't looked further outside my own province, but really the trends are going in the right direction. That said, we're going to open up. I think the schools are opening up next week. Businesses in a couple of weeks as well. I hope it keeps going down. We're being pretty vigilant right now, I think, in terms of social distancing and masks, etc.
Yeah, most people are, but again, you look at like what happened in the Super Bowl, which is in Florida. There's people
Right.
gathering like crazy, nobody wearing masks, and so it's hard to judge. Okay, is everybody in their own bubble, or is this just a gathering of a bunch of strangers? We have no idea. So
I'll say this, David. I went to the SCUSA Winter Series race. You're going to see it there. When I was down there in Florida in January, everybody wearing masks. Almost everybody I saw had masks on. Of course, I was inside. I wore it the whole time. I took it off only when I was in my announcer's booth. I'm sure you'll do the same. And it was the same thing when we were at the Challenge of the Americas race at Phoenix. Inside people's tents, they're allowed to take their masks off. But when they were out and with the public, everybody had their masks on. Same thing when we were in doing the podiums at the end of the day. Everybody was wearing their masks, which was good.
Yeah, and again, we just have to continue to keep doing that until the guidelines kind of lessen, or the actual vaccine is getting distributed to everybody.
Sure enough.
So
let's go on to the next bit of news here that hit the pipe, and it came from Superkarts USA. They had about a week ago they talked about the fact that they were bringing the new X30 engine upgrades in. David, upgrade to the new pipe, ignition, airbox. There's a number of different things. I want to say bottom and bearings as well. A lot of stuff was being brought in. Only one thing was mandatory, and that was the new exhaust pipe. But David, they've held this off. They're going to delay bringing this new stuff in until the Winter Nationals, which will be at the end of March at NOLA Motorsports Park. Being told COVID-19 logistics forcing the delay. I don't know if you have more information, but essentially, I'm assuming they just can't get the parts right now.
No, now it's being implemented to the Spring Nationals.
Oh my goodness! All right,
it was originally scheduled
to
come in for the Winter Nationals, which will be in March.
That's right.
But now it is implemented for what will be the Spring Nationals in May.
End of May,
End of May at Utah Motorsports Campus. So that's kind of, again, as you said, it's logistics that are kind of the issue right now, making sure there are enough parts for everybody to be able to upgrade to those parts. The Exhaust is the only mandatory
Yeah.
for Supercarts USA competition. The electronics, airbox, main bearings are all optional. So those were the optional items that people will be able to. So again, it's kind of like the supply demand type scenario, and obviously still logistics are a big issue. I mean, even mail is an issue. You know, people are, we're having mail delays, and so getting shipments over the ocean is probably taking a little bit longer than normal still.
All right, folks, quick little break in the action here that we'll cut so we can use it for the podcast. Quick break in the action. We'll come back on the other side and talk about the Quincy Grand Prix. So back here live again, our first ever live This Week in Karting program. We're going Rob Howden, David Cole, live here on YouTube. And again, those little breaks we'll use, of course, for the podcast as well. Big thank you, of course, to our broadcast partners here, not only Leading Edge, but in that last break, Briggs & Stratton and Trinity Karting Group. David, one of the issues from last year, and I was so excited because I was going to go back to the Quincy Grand Prix. It was an open weekend for me. I was going to go announce with Randy Kugler, get a chance to actually race in the Margay Ignite categories. The race now getting reset for this year. Initially, it was planned for the 11th, 12th, 13th. It's being moved now back to and talking to Keith Freeber was actually the kind of where the race always was, the first weekend of June. So June the 4th, 5th, 6th, moving up one weekend for 2021, but the Quincy Grand Prix is back again this year.
Yeah, it's back. That was one of the casualties that we had of COVID-19 throughout 2020. Was originally scheduled in June, was postponed till October, but that rescheduled date was eventually canceled because of the restrictions in Quincy, Illinois, where it is being held. But talking to Terry Schrader and everybody involved with the Quincy Grand Prix, they're excited to bring it back for 2021. Obviously, they're still going to be monitoring the different restrictions that are going to be in place as we lead up to the event on June 4th June 5th through the 6th. So still things to happen, but looking at this year's event, be very similar to class structure that they introduced in 2020, providing Briggs 206 categories, the Ignite program that will be featured with Margay Racing, along with the F100 category, which welcomes Yamahas, the KA100s, and the VLR engines, and then shifter categories. So that's kind of the basis of the class structure for Quincy Grand Prix. Not
really sure if it's on my docket for this year. I think it might be. I'll have to talk to Terry Trader to see. This is interesting, though. And I'm going to take this potentially as a sign that I need to figure out how to get there. I was actually going through an old file folder last night, throwing out a bunch of stuff. And I found a folder from when I used to work for Performance Racing News. And with some of the stuff that people had sent, it was one as well for National Kart News when I worked there, letters to the editor that had been sent to me. And I actually have a fax letter from 1998 from Gus Trader. The first year that I was there, and Gus took me around, and I had a chance to went around with him in the golf cart. I actually raced that year, and I actually have a letter from Gus Trader. So I'm gonna scan it and post it up later on because
fax.
It was a fax.
Now explain to kids what a fax is, because they don't know.
Right? A facsimile. Yeah. It's so I'll pull it up later on. Pretty cool. It's old school, but it's from Gus Trader, and something I knew I had. I'm actually going to frame it because it's, he says a lot of really nice things, and I'm going to hold on to that because I remember that was Keith Freeber took me out to that race. He said, so when I was with National Kart News, you have to come and see Quincy in the park, Rob. You have to come. So I came to cover it, and I think the story's been told several times, but after way too many beers at the bar on Saturday night, they convinced me that I was going to run Dan Schmalzoff's chassis. Darren Rudolph gave me an engine, and I started last in Yamaha pipe.
Well, it looks like you have space on the wall back there to kind of hang it up in a frame. So that's a good idea. That would be a great place to put it.
That's not a bad idea. Let's go to the next one, David. Wait, you still stick with Margay, right? Margay actually confirming all of their Ignite majors schedule for this year. It's one of the programs, of course, that has been big over the last couple of years. We've really followed kind of the development of the Margay Ignite program. They had the program first, and they built their Ignite Challenge in the Midwest area, and then got a chance, of course, to run down at Daytona, and then they ran the Battle at the Brickyard. So essentially all the dates, David, coming out for this one. The other majors still coming. WK Manufacturers Cup Series, Charlotte Motor Speedway, part of that race on April the 15th to the 18th. As we just mentioned, June the 5th and 6th, it'll be an Ignite major at the Quincy Grand Prix. Might have to race that one. Middle of September, September 17th, 18th, 19th, again with the WK Manufacturers Cup. The series will be part of that program this year at Newcastle. And the TBD at the end there, you can see the pagoda in the logo, hoping to hear word that we may be able to get back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here in 2021.
Yeah, that, we kind of, as you said, followed it from the beginning, which kind of the majors really started at Rock Island Grand Prix when the class was kind of introduced. I was one of the first competitors to race in that category and did for everything but 1 year up until, obviously last year's cancellation. But the big one now is Brickyard. That's huge. Daytona was obviously another big event for them with, now having senior, masters, and junior taking part in the in Daytona Kart Week. So now that program continues on with the Manufacturers Cup program at Charlotte and at Newcastle, and then of course Quincy and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Can't compete with that.
Here's the thing: you talked to Keith Freeber. If Indy had not been gone, there this year, they would have raced at Daytona, Charlotte, and Indianapolis. Are there three bigger race? Is there anything else in that of the big three racetracks in all of North America right now?
No, really. That's
that's it.
Road America could be one, but if that was happening at say the same time the IndyCar was racing, that would be, that's an idea.
On the big track.
Well,
one lap.
Hold on. As you see through my picture, hold on. There we go. My picture there. Yeah, the big track. Don't tease me about that.
I know.
Don't tease me about
that.
I know. But just thinking big picture, obviously they use the rental carts there when IndyCar and IMSA and that is there, but that would be a really cool, maybe a one day event,
during the IndyCar weekend.
During IndyCar weekend, say make it, even make it Sunday because everybody's focused in on what's going on the big track, but just to kind of, hey, bring in, just like Champ Car used to bring in the road tax race.
I like that idea.
So then you have Daytona, Road America, Charlotte, and hopefully Indianapolis Motor Speedway with Battle at the Brickyard.
What do you want after that? Let's go to the next one, David. You already mentioned this. Rock Island Grand Prix. Everybody wondered, are we going back to the Rock? Are we going to do it? We got the notice. It will be back. The Rock Island Grand Prix brought to you by Extreme back on September 4th and 5th, Labor Day weekend. Of course, canceled last year in 2020. But this year, David, partnering up with NKA, the National Karting Alliance. We know that registration and the class lineup will all come out sooner or later. But just nice to know that there is plans and for the Rock Island Grand Prix to be back. I saw some of the social media posts from local radio stations and TV stations in Rock Island actually posting stuff that they're excited to see the race back again. It really is part of the Quad Cities, this event on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, Rock Island Grand Prix is a legend in our sport. It'll be, I think what they said is the 26th edition of the event. Obviously, this year is going to be a little bit different because, as you said, National Karting Alliance is going to be working with Rock Island Grand Prix. So it's not just the volunteers that we've seen year after year, decade after decade, working and organizing the event. They're going to be working with Joe Janowski and his staff at the National Karting Alliance. So, we'll see what kind of changes that might bring about leading up to, again, the class announcements and registration announcements, and see if anything else could be happening. If there's event format changes, we've seen that in the last couple of years when they added a heat race to Saturday rather than qualifying. So
you keep asking for more track.
Well, I think that's one of the things that people keep asking for is they want more track time. So,
no more track. You want more track.
Well, I want more track.
Out of turn one,
an actual more travel track. Yes,
I know you do.
A longer track to compete on with more than one right hand turn. That's I think that's kind of been the key ask by racers who have raced there, is such as myself who have been there 9 times in the last 15 years. So I think that's one of it. I think the heat races certainly brought in a new flavor and a new mix, a new element to it, because even some of the fast guys had to come from deep in the field to be able to come and win a heat race within 8 laps, which is still phenomenally feat. It's like the P-pick that we talk about with say Buckeye Karting Challenge. Yep. Club racing, it's a cool factor. It adds a little bit different. It's especially harder at a street race because you have the barriers to contend with along with the competition.
Again, so big props to Rock Island getting this thing back going again. You can sure that a lot of people will be back at it. I know they missed it last year. Another event being announced as well, though, for I believe the first weekend of June, the inaugural KA100 206 Sprint Nationals announced for the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Sean Bailiff's track that he acquired and has been there for a while, but has acquired ownership of in just outside Cincinnati. It's kind of a combination, David, between the Route 66 Sprint Series and the Buckeye Karting Challenge you just mentioned. It'll be the KA100, so the IAME USA East crew will be there. Briggs & Stratton and MG Tires behind the event with all the 206 classes. Mini, Micro, and KA100 Junior, Senior, and Heavy. And then for Briggs, 206 Sportsman, Junior, Medium, and Heavy. And they'll throw a Yamaha Super Can class in there as well. I don't see any Masters classes for you and I, so we're not going.
Well, I think that's why they have the heavy categories. Route 66 doesn't have any Masters classes. They just call them heavy to allow, heavy regional competitors to compete in those categories. So, heavy divisions would be where we would end up. But, again, it allows drivers to do multiple classes and be able to compete. What I saw on social media when this announcement came out on EKN was, what about a 50 kart challenge for the Yamaha Super Can race there?
I like that. There's engines all over the place. I mean,
the Buckeye Karting Challenge, they were able to get probably 25 competitors in the Yamaha senior category Super Can category that they did have last year.
Okay.
So you're looking at maybe, what if a Brandon Lemke or, some of these other superstars that grew up racing the Yamaha still have them sitting on the shelf in the garage. And
we're going to challenge like a Mark Dismore Jr. to come back out too.
A Brandon Atkins, a Dismore, a Gary Lawson. Get all those guys, working for their customers in all the other categories and make kind of like the Super Can class, like that legend. Well, I guess Dismore's not really a legend.
Oh, dude, did you not have like a midday snack or something? Are you hangry right now?
No, I just like throwing shade at people.
You need a Snickers.
It's fun. But yeah, that's a good idea. It's kind of gotten the ideas going through the brain. Talked with Scott Benton at Buckeye Karting Challenge. They're working up on building a new logo for the event, kind of getting the branding going, because they just got everything kind of worked out with Route 66 and them to put on this event. So now they're kind of looking at the branding of the event, how they can market it to all the other competitors throughout the eastern half of the country, maybe even some western cap.
Yeah, you know what? Again, we've seen it with the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. If you build a good event, people start getting behind it. Numbers breed numbers. It is what it is. And if you get Route 66 coming in and you get Buckeye Karting Challenge, they both have good numbers. This could be a really, really big event for sure. So again, that's happening on June the 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Another quick break in the action here, folks. When we come back, we're going to talk CKR USA, talk about their new manager director for their race team, and we'll fill you in on what's going on with the new United States Karting Grand Prix out in Utah. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to our first ever live edition of This Week in Karting. My name's Rob Howden. That's David Cole. We're going to bring you essentially everything that's been on the EKN homepage over the last 10 days. Our last edition of the podcast was February the 1st. Don't worry if you're a podcast fan or an EKN radio network fan. The content here will get turned into audio. It'll be on the radio network first, and then we'll get it as well into the podcast forum. So if you're listening on the way to work or coming home, whatever it may be, either of the commutes, we got you taken care of. David, CKR USA and the CKR chassis is one we've seen over the last couple of years, of course, based up in Idaho, but they've done some damage down at the Super Nationals. We've seen them do really well and have some really good outings as well. And kind of this guy right here, Eric Molinati, has now been named the managing director of CKR USA's race team, a Formula Pro Tour race winner, a former California State Karting Championship race winner. Kyle Keenan will be there as well as a driver coach for the team. He won the SCCA runoffs. They're going to do the SCUSA Pro Tour. They're going to do Quincy in the Park. Of course, they support their local racing up in the Pacific Northwest as well. Snake River Karters in Idaho, over at Tri-City Kart Club as well. Kart Idaho And, of course, they're going to be at the Super Nationals 24. But kind of a cool thing for CKR USA, bringing Eric on board and, of course, Kyle Keenan as well. This is going to be a cool deal for James O'Brien. They're really kind of doubling down with CKR program. You got to give James props, David, up in Idaho there with his brick and mortar shop, really supporting karting in the area, but stretching out a bit with the team as well.
Yeah, just trying to solidify a national race team, I think is kind of what they're doing. You obviously got to take some steps that way, and having someone as like the key personnel to go to regarding that, when you bring in Eric Molinari to do that, is going to be the key factor to doing that. You add in a driver coach with Kyle Keenan, as you said. So they're looking to go big in 2021. That's something I think we're kind of building off the momentum of 2020. Everybody had some, a lot of the kart shops. I'm sure CKR USA and Shifter Kart were no exception. Building off that momentum they had, and now, hey, let's expand even more. They're starting to get some dealers in the Midwest and looking, further east for their dealer network and even further south. So what better way to do that than with a race team? Make sure. Always you win on Sunday, sell on Monday. So that's kind of maybe the mentality that they're looking at with the CKR brand.
And it's branding, and it's getting national awareness out. The karts, if you've ever seen a CKR, high quality machinery for sure, great material. So look forward to seeing them at all these major events. It will be at, of course, with the EK and Trackside Live Tour. Transportation, pit space also available. If you don't have a CKR, you can still be with them and go to these teams if you're a local driver wanting to travel down. David, some pretty big news actually as well. And, we talk about cooperation in the sport and people kind of working together, and it doesn't happen all the time. A bunch of the road racing groups getting together, though. The World Karting Association hooking up with Tag USA, with the Northern California Karters, with the Puget Sound Road Racing Association as well. A brand new event, the United States Karting Grand Prix. They've announced their sprint program. This event is going to be at the Utah Motorsports campus. I don't have the date in front of me right now, David. It's late July, right?
It's right there on the logo, July 23rd, 24th,
pretty small.
25th.
There it is.
I can see it. You can't.
It's pretty small. I'm on my laptop. You probably have a huge screen, right?
I don't. I have a laptop.
Wow, that's hard for me to see.
It's the same laptop I race my my iRacing on.
Well, that explains a lot. So there's going to be road race and sprint. You can see from the shot there, the aerial shot, the full road race track, and of course the sprint track that has had so many major events: Rotax Grand Nationals, Superkarts USA Pro Tour, Stars of Karting back in the day. Lots of different events running on that track in Utah. Here's what they've got going for the sprint side. A lot of categories in the Briggs 206 class: cadet, junior, senior, masters, and they're going to have a world formula class as well. KZ Light, KZ Heavy, Stock Moto Heavy, and Pro Shifter. They're also going to have 100cc Junior, Senior, and Masters, Tag Cadet, Tag Junior, Tag Senior, and Tag Masters. There is a lot of racing going on. We did have news as well that the good folks from J3 Competition Race Rotax are going to be in there to support the event as well. Road race, I think, is going to be obviously a lot of this program is the road race groups that are coming together, but they got the sprint track there. So if they're going to rent the facility, let's try to bring everybody in together. Road race class structure coming soon, though, David, but they did get a chance to roll out what they're going to do on the sprint track.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that is the tag program. It's with Tag USA. So all the different engines that you see within the country are going to be allowed. You got your Rock, you have your IAME, you have Rotax, all the different type of tag engines allowed by Tag USA are going to be competing in those age categories. So that'll be an interesting part is seeing, different engines out there at one time. You don't typically see that anymore on sprint tracks. So that'll be the cool thing.
It's true. Yeah. Old school tag.
Road racing details just came out. So those are available as well at the United States Karting Grand Prix website. So it's going to be an interesting event, kind of see how it unfolds, obviously being the inaugural event. It's going to have some learning curves and some hurdles to overcome, but it's something that they can build on, hopefully for the future for an event like this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, folks, one more quick break in the action. When we get back, we'll detail some of the stuff we've had on eKarting News, the podcast, radio network, everything we've done over the last 10 days. Shout out to Margay Racing and Acceleration, as well as AMAX Racing and the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. You saw their logos coming up there. Big supporters of everything we do at eKartingnews.com, and we could not do it without you guys. Thank you so much. David, at our own editorial, we got lots of stuff happening in the sideline right now. I've got a couple more Q&As I'm working on, but we were able to announce very quickly, actually, our driver of the month for January. There was a couple of considerations that you and I looked at, but Mateus Orjuela ended up with our driver of the month, dominated the action at the SCUSA Winter Series, was able to win as well at the Rock Cup Florida Winter Tour. Pretty impressive January for the Parolin USA driver.
Well, yeah, there were a number of drivers that we had in our honorable mention list. We kind of tried to narrow it down even further, and then we ended up coming with Mateus. You look at his performance in January, almost swept the 2 rounds at Homestead for the SuperKarts USA Winter Series, qualifying being the only blemish on his record. Other than that, he was at the top of the order in all the other sessions. Then he goes to Florida Winter Tour the next weekend in the mini rock category and sweeps the entire weekend there without a challenge. So you kind of have to tip your hat to Mateus. And kind of, again, we talk about that. January is the month to kind of shine to where you're going to be, hey, well, I'm going to be a contender all year round. So,
put your stamp on it, right?
So he's put the stamp on it. Now it's the month of February. He's kind of got the bullseye on his back. So we'll see if he's able to continue that momentum.
As we said, folks, so this is kind of the way things are shaking down. It's always evolving here at eKarting News. We try to bring content to where you guys are, where you want to see it. That's why we're doing this live show here of This Week in Karting. We'll do more live shows as we do throughout the season. Continue to leverage what we do here on YouTube. But David, we essentially take anything we make, whether it's audio or video, we turn it into audio. It goes on the radio network. Then it goes on the podcasts. You were able to put a bunch of podcasts together. What have you gotten out in the last couple of weeks?
Well, a couple.
Yeah, well, it's only been 10 days.
It's only been 10 days.
4 of those being weekends.
Obviously, we had the last edition of This Week in Karting, episode 30. That's now available as a podcast because we actually did bring out 3 podcasts last week, that being one of them. And then our face-to-face that you did with the Challenging the Americas winners from PKRA, including Liam Lech and Raymond Ruskitty. Those 2 drivers joined you for a good interview between the 2 winners. So those podcasts are available now. Anywhere you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, anywhere. Our Podbean that we host all the podcasts on, along with iHeartRadio and anything else.
Yep. So you mentioned the face-to-face with the winners. We're going to do that again. So David, of course, is leaving. Today's Wednesday. He leaves tomorrow for the SCUSA race. The Outlap podcast is going to be on the Outlap preview show we did is going to be on a podcast probably, tomorrow or Friday?
It's tomorrow.
This
will be available on Friday. So, yeah.
This is coming Friday. We'll do a debrief show on Tuesday when you get back.
Not Monday.
Not Monday. You're flying back Monday. Tuesday, we'll do the debrief show. That'll just be a straight podcast. And then Wednesday or Thursday, I'll try to grab a couple of drivers. We'll do another face-to-face with whoever really steps up and is kind of the big dogs at the SCUSA Winter Series race. We'll get them on a face-to-face as well. So that's coming. eCan Radio Network, again, we provide so many different opportunities. So you download the eCan Radio Network to your app. I've got it on my phone here. 24/7, all the content continually playing on there. Playing today, we have the Outlap from the Winter Series, David, you talked about on the radio network right now. So if you do want to get updated with what's going on, you're listening live, it's on the radio network right now. We've got an episode of This Week in Karting as well, the one we just talked about. And David, you just keep bringing stuff out, old races, whatever it may be, a lot of different stuff that you put on the eCan Radio Network.
Yeah, this audio version will be playing on the radio network tomorrow. All day tomorrow, and then again, like we said, we'll have it available as a podcast. You'll be able to listen to a number of different podcasts over the weekend as we're providing our live coverage throughout the weekend, and then again, lots more content next week on the eCan Radio Network.
Well, so we'll fill you in kind of what's happening to wrap things up here. David, as we said, is going to be heading to the Winter Series, SCUSA Winter Series wrapper. The 3rd and 4th rounds, I'll crown the champion down at AMR Motorplex down in Homestead. His first trip to Homestead. He's never been there. I can't believe it. In all the races. So he's going to go down and enjoy that one. Xander Clemens will be on the mic. I'm stuck at home. I think we've told the story before. I was trying to get back from the Challenge of the Americas. I did my COVID test 72 hours ahead. The nurse put the wrong time down. When I was flying home from Denver to Toronto, I was 22 minutes past the 72-minute window. So they wouldn't let me get on the plane. So I spent 3 days in Denver working my tail off. That puts me to the point where I couldn't get my COVID test fast enough to leave to go down to Homestead. David Cole. being subbed in, as is Xander Clements. And because of that, I'm staying home right now all the way through to the end of March, when I'll head to the Winter Nationals, the SCUSA Pro Tour opener in NOLA. So, David, you'll be by yourself as well. February 26th, 27th, 28th, bringing in Tim Chapman, to do the play-by-play on the EKN Radio Network, the Challenge of the Americas at Cal Speed. I'll be tuning into that one all weekend long because I have a sneaking feeling there's going to be 150 guys there for that race.
Yeah, hopefully, the Challenge of the Americas weekend is going to be another record-breaking event. We nearly got that last month in Phoenix with 130. So we just need 10 more entries, and we're sure to get that Cal Speed bump because we know a lot of competitors that weren't in Phoenix that will more than likely be at Cal Speed. But that allows you to actually work from home, Rob. Like you could write both race report weekends, correct?
David, I'd be more than happy to help you with the race reports. I actually will.
Not. You're going to be watching the 500 like a redneck you are.
No, you know how I'm going to watch the 500. First 20 laps.
Yeah. Take it.
Last 20 laps.
It's a great nap. It's great nap time.
That's very true. That's right. I will give you a hand. I look forward to it. It's going to be a good weekend down there. You're going to have some fun down there.
I don't want you to overwork yourself.
Hey, one thing I am doing tonight, and it starts in 3 hours and 15 minutes, is the second round of the TireRack.com Road to Indy E-Series presented by Cooper Tires. And if you're a karting guy, you got to come and watch this because Carmine Caruso is running. He won the second round of the WKA AMAX Esports Series presented by Summit Racing Supply, Racing Products, I think.
Racing equipment.
Summit. I got to write that down so I get it right. So Carmine's running. Dean Dibdahl did a tremendous job in our opening round.
Top five, I think, both rounds.
Jarrett Schwartz won round 3.
Yeah. He'll
be next week at Iowa Speedway, which will be flipping awesome.
He's from Iowa, actually.
With hometown boy. Will Salisbury won round 4, so he's going to race round number 4. Dibdahl wins the championship. He's back for round number 5.
There you go.
Yeah.
Actually, to be honest, they're all basically karters that are going to be in that program. I mean, you're talking Christian Brooks, you're talking Braden Eves.
Oh, yeah. Devlin DeFrancesco. Yeah, no doubt about it. A lot of cars. Matt Clark's running as well. The cool factor is tonight, James Davison's going to come and race with us as well. Indy 500 starter, Monster Energy Cup racer as well. He's going to run.
Former karter.
Hearing rumors that Will Power may come and run soon. It's going to be good.
He's too busy beating up on Scott McLaughlin at GoPro Motorplex.
Yeah, laughing at him when he goes by him. Did you see that video? Wow. Will Power card. Good to see that. It's just awesome to have Will part of the program. Folks, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for coming here. We're going to be doing these live shows probably every other week if we can. Travel always makes things different when Dave and I are back and forth. But we want to try something new. We know that so many of you love watching the stuff we do on YouTube. Might as well bring the first showing of This Week in Karting here as well. Give us a chance to maybe do some interviews throughout the show as we kind of get playing with this. But we do appreciate it. David, thank you so much for being flexible. I wanted to get this done. I said yesterday, hey, we should do This Week in Karting live. It's like, what?
All right. This is what I did.
I know.
I'm just not that TV guy yet. I like being behind the scenes.
You do it. Listen, I'll tell you one thing. You've come a long way.
Well, we're talking with Mike Smith and the Fullcaster podcast that they do. They're talking about doing a live broadcast at Challenge in America's weekend. And, he's talking about doing video and this and that. I'm just like, let me just be behind the scenes.
You'd like being behind the scenes. I know it, dude. That's good. But this is good. That was awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. Appreciate it. Again, remember, all this stuff's heading up on the EKN Radio Network. Then it'll be available on podcasts for sure. Turn around from here, and next week after David gets back, we've got the Debrief podcast, a full review of the Superkarts USA Winter Series finale at Homestead, and then we'll get a couple of the winners that really impressed both David and myself, and maybe get Xander to give us some input as well. We'll grab 2 drivers for a face-to-face interview Wednesday or Thursday of next week. That'll, of course, be live here on the EKN YouTube page as well. I do appreciate you tuning in, folks. My name's Rob Howden. That's David Cole. Book it.